All right. Welcome back to the NBA show. Thursday, January 12th. I'm here with Luke. How you doing? How does Cyro usually start these? He's somewhere.
He starts the music and then we just go full send into the
Yeah.
topic, which we already did that. So, we might as well just get into it. And if he joins us, he joins us.
Yeah. So I'm still desperately ill. I would have used. I'm out of sick days. I'm out of PTO days. So it's going to be Luke and I. I think Cyro's joining us at some point, but
live from the road.
Yeah, right. What's up, Thomas? Yeah. So I have nothing ready to go here. What do you want to start off with?
I mean, we could get started talking about last night's games real quick. Okay. We can start talking about that Wizards Bulls game.
Yeah.
Did you see the last possession of the game?
That's all I saw of basketball yesterday because the FAA gypped me and I got back around 2 a.m.
So you saw that terrible last possession?
Yes. My buddies were not pleased.
Your head. What was going through your head on that?
What is going on? Give me 1 second.
I don't think you can hear. All right.
So notice me that quick.
So Levine said DeLon Wright told Levine, I guess he got fouled, and he told the ref said that he got fouled as well, but it still didn't make any sense. So it's basically, to me, the Bulls season summarized in one play, really.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're getting fouled, you need a three. You need a three. You knew that you needed a three, and that was the only way you had a chance to tie the game. So, I know he didn't have a good look at a three, really, but still, I mean, you needed a three. So I don't understand what was going on there.
Yeah. The Bulls ending. So I didn't watch that game, but I listened to The Athletic. And so they basically said that game, the Wizards literally lucked themselves out because at the end of the game, they lost the game. Okay. And then Kyle Kuzma hits that ridiculous shot. Is that what you guys are talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about the Zach LaVine taking the mid-range jumper down three instead of taking a three. That's what we're talking about.
I mean,
you're down three, and it's not like they had enough time to really get
no time.
A two. There was no time to get a two, foul, have them shoot free throws, and shoot on the three. You might as well, you got to shoot the three there.
No, you're right. And but this is the weird thing because the Bulls went on this run. People weren't talking about the last 10 games. They were actually somewhat good. And these are mistakes that I feel like have compartmentalized themselves throughout the season, where it's just boneheaded mistakes. They lose because of themselves. I mean, that's any team, but
yeah, but some teams are just not good, and you can't expect them to be talented. The Bulls are not that.
I know, but the thing that's holding them back is themselves.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like all teams do that to some extent, but there are teams that will never be good.
You could have Billy Donovan, who I think is a decent coach, a top 15 coach in the league. He can do the best coaching job, but if the guys aren't executing or properly, it's not going to work.
That was just a mistake. I guess he probably wasn't aware that there was that little time left. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of why you don't take a three there, because you needed 3 points.
No, I agree. And did you guys watch this game live? I don't know. I think
I didn't watch the game. I just saw the replay of the Kuzma game winner, and then immediately
so did I.
I saw that shot, the Levine pull up.
Is Kuzma? They said on The Athletic that Kuzma's our generation's Robert Horry.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think Luke will like that.
It's just not accurate. Get 6 rings with 3 different teams.
That's just not accurate. Kuzma was literally a better player than Robert Horry.
But Robert Horry has 6
rings. Oh, it's flipped.
Yeah, Robert Horry is called Big Shot Rob because he hit the game winner for the Houston Rockets. He hit the game winner for the San Antonio Spurs, and he hit the game winner for the Lakers, right?
All in the playoffs. He hit multiple playoffs.
In the finals, I thought.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in general. He hit more than just that. He hit multiple big clutch playoff shots throughout his entire
career. Is it 5 or 6 rings he has?
7, not 5 or 6. It's 7.
With what, 4 or 3 teams?
Yeah, he has the second most rings of any NBA player.
Not Bill Russell or Boston Celtics.
Most rings of any player that didn't play for the Boston Celtics
in the 60s and 50s.
Yeah.
That's insane.
You didn't know about Big Shot Rob, dude?
I don't know. Apparently, I know nothing about Robert Horry, and his stats are
Because
desperately bad.
So think about this.
Yeah, like
Robert
Kuzma's
Horry,
really a better player than Robert Horry is. Like
Robert Horry was part of the Hakeem Olajuwon Rockets. Then he goes to the Charles Barkley Suns. Then he goes to the Shaq and Kobe Lakers, and then he wins his final ring with the Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker.
7 rings. Yep, he has 7 rings.
Is that crazy?
That's wild, isn't it? Robert Horry has more rings than Michael Jordan, LeBron James.
So,
like, Robert Horry's the GOAT. I can't believe they compared Kuzma to Robert Horry, though, dude. Robert Horry, like, I don't think he ever averaged more than, like, 12 points a game in his career for a season. Like, Robert Horry was not.
He did not.
Yeah, Robert Horry was not. Like, Kuzma's a better player than Robert Horry. Come on now.
I thought it was.
I think that's funny that the Athletic said that.
And for me, I just saw that, and I not saw that, but I heard that, and I laughed so hard in the car.
Yeah, that's hilarious because it's. So
I don't, Luke. You want to know how much? We're talking about the guys who, if one of them mentions the name Lakers, do you know how much the guy wants one of them to pay him? This guy hates talking Lakers so much, and he's an NBA journalist.
Me?
That
I talk Lakers.
No, the guy on the Athletic.
Talking about? Oh, yeah, I thought you were talking about ESPN. I'm like, don't they all hate talking to the Lakers?
Who?
I stopped listening to the Athletic because a couple weeks into the season, every time somebody mentioned the word Lakers, because they cover basketball, so you
Zach Harper
have to.
I don't blame you if you hate Zach Harper.
He wants $10,000 every time somebody
Who?
brings up the Lakers. I don't know. I hate the show. So, anyways, watch the game. Zach had no shot. He stepped through the double team where he was on. What's up, Big J? Cyro, I don't like doing this.
I know, but I got here late. This is the last.
What do I do next? What do I do now?
I'm looking for the pictures right now for you. Okay.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. Thank you.
And you're just gonna let me share the screen.
Cool.
All right. So I'm just about to share my screen.
Yeah, Big J. Zach never.
All right, pull this up.
Never had a good look. At least at the clip that I saw at the end of the possession, he never really had a good look. But it was still a contested mid-range jumper. That's not something that you want taking down 3 with 3 seconds left.
All right,
The Photoshop.
This is I just need a quick photo. I'm out of my element today, so we're just going to use this one quickly because it has Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt. Supposedly, Landry Fields has been given the green light when he took over the basketball operations for the Hawks to trade John Collins. Supposedly, the Hawks are in a conversation with the Jazz, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt for John Collins. I've said, why don't you do this? Justin Holiday, John Collins for Kelly Olynyk, Jared Vanderbilt, and Malik Beasley. Don't send me any picks. Because if you send me Jared Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley, I need 1 pick at least. What do you guys think? This is like the most – because I've said it this whole time. There's 2 deals. He goes to the Wizards for Kyle Kuzma, or he goes to Utah for either Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, or Kelly Olynyk. Some combination of that.
I saw a report. It was like a Bleacher Report article talking about the trade, and apparently the Jazz wanted the Hawks to throw in a pick as well as John Collins.
Yeah, I mean that's stupid.
I know it is. That was my thought reading it, but apparently they wanted it. Like, let me read this. This is okay. Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports said this, and it's included in the Bleacher Report article. It says they discussed the deal for Collins, for Beasley and Vanderbilt, and that Utah's lobbied Atlanta for a first-round pick in addition to John Collins to complete the deal. So, yeah, that just seems like a ridiculous. Like adding
the only way
plus John Collins for that. Like, if that actually goes through, then Atlanta's dumb for that.
If you're telling me attach a protected first-round pick with John Collins and you're giving me Kelly with Justin Holiday and you give me Kelly Olynyk, Jared Vanderbilt, and Malik Beasley, maybe I'll talk there.
Yeah, but this is you're just getting.
Yeah, wait, why?
Because that's just Danny Ainge. He's trying to because there's two types of people. There's 2 types of people in this world. You either realize that John Collins is underutilized and being misutilized, and that he would be like way more valuable, like playing next to like Lowry Markkanen or even like Karl Anthony Towns or even Kristaps Porzingis, and you realize that Trae Young and like John Collins, like it just doesn't work there. And then the other half goes, "Oh, John Collins is ass because you're playing next to Trae Young. You should be like going off, like he's gone more. You know what I mean? Like there's two views. Like one person looks and sees like, oh, he's not a fit anymore in Atlanta, and then other people are like, oh, he's just bad. Those are like the two viewpoints. I don't know why for John Collins. There's no in between.
I mean, yeah, you either like him or you don't.
I mean, if I was the Hawks, I would ask for Kelly Olynyk, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, Jordan Clarkson, and Rudy Gay, and 5 first-round picks.
Somebody's gonna think you're serious.
But that's how good I think John Collins is. He's a top 5 set. He's a top 5 power forward in the league when he's utilized properly.
If the Jazz aren't sending me a first-round pick, send me back Kelly Olynyk, Malik, Jared for Justin Holiday and John Collins.
I think that way they kill 2 birds with 1 stone. The Hawks like get to get rid of Justin Holiday and they get a decent amount of players in return for John Collins.
And
that's a great haul. Jared Vanderbilt's extremely
and the Hawks get to get rid of Justin Holiday, so it works out for them.
Then your bench would be Malik Beasley as your shooting guard swingman behind AJ Griffin and DeAndre Hunter and DeJounte Murray and Trey Young and whatever they run. And then you'd have a bench. Your backup point guard's Bogdan. Your 2 wings are AJ Griffin and Malik. Your backup power forward's Jared Vanderbilt, and your backup center's Onyeka when Clint's healthy. And until Clint gets healthy, Onyeka starts. Jared Vanderbilt's a backup center with Derek Favors if they keep Derek Favors for this full season, and then your backup power forward interns Jaylen Johnson. Oh yeah, Georgia Tech guy.
Yeah, I think they will keep Derek Favors. I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean, like, there's no point in keeping it. Like, there's no point in signing him like they did just to not keep him for the full season. So,
I think they gave him a 10-day just to see how in shape he is.
I mean, I think they're going to keep him for the full season. I mean, there would be no point not to. Just get him on a minimum. I mean, he can help you.
So if Collins doesn't get traded from the Hawks, do you think I kind of imagine Bogdy's gone?
Nah, because Bogdy shoots. It's just that, like, John Collins, I feel like at this point he's a detriment to the locker room. And the other thing is the fact that you have a guy like this team needs more shooting. You can't get rid of Bogdan, who's like one of your 2 shooters off the bench. All you have off the bench is AJ Griffin and Bogdan. You can't get rid of that. And Bogdan's also your backup point guard.
I mean, yeah.
Which is shitty, yeah.
So because the Holiday Bros failed.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
I honestly had hope, especially that they were going to play together.
Maybe fails the wrong word.
They're gonna get rid of Justin, I think, at the very least, and they're gonna try to attach him to any trade packages that they can.
Well, it's just like Justin's broken. Justin was on fire on the Indiana Pacers last year, and then as soon as he got traded to Sacramento, he's never had that shot again. And like Justin Holiday, even on the Chicago Bulls, was it where he broke out as that like role player?
We did have. Well, he was a starter for us in our.
You can be a role.
Was that Justin or Aaron?
Justin. Aaron was on the Pacers, and then he went to the Suns.
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin was nice, but I mean,
I couldn't remember.
We needed a little bit more than Justin Holiday.
I just think at this point, what would you do? I think you got to trade John Collins as much as I like him. I just think at this point.
I mean, at this point, the relationship is soured between him and Atlanta. And he said he doesn't care where he plays. He just wants to,
he's been super modest about this.
Yeah, he just said he doesn't care where he plays, whether
he just wants to play ball.
He just wants to play ball. So, he doesn't care if he gets traded or not. But at the end of the day, I think the relationship is sour, and I think you have to get rid of him. They're not using him really correctly, and his numbers and his efficiency hasn't necessarily gone down too much. It's just more that his shooting attempts have gone down. He's still what is he, a 35% 3-point shooter around there? That's what he is for his career.
John Collins this year?
For his career, he's a 36.
Oh yeah. He's shooting 23% right now
from 3. Ugh.
Let's pivot, and right here,
top 5 power forward.
Also, Luke, mute yourself when you're not talking, just so I don't hear your reverb. I'm giving you a microphone tomorrow, or it's later today. Yeah, I'm giving him a microphone.
Like Tim Ferriss.
And headphones. So either way, the thing is that right here, we saw Jaylen Brown go off. It was Jaylen Brown's game. And Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have a really good relationship. And there was Gary Washburn was a guest on David Aldridge's show on The Athletic. I love David Aldridge. And he had Gary Washburn he covers the Boston Celtics. And he says they have a great relationship. and they were talking about the fact that they're probably gonna have to give both. They're about to have 2 guys on super maxes, but then they brought up the question. We just saw Jaylen Brown have a 41-point game, and I've always joked around that in 2024 he's going to go to Atlanta, where he's from. But do you think that Jaylen Brown, let's say they do win, I think if they win a title, he stays. But let's say they don't win a title in the next 2 years. Do you think Jaylen Brown's the type of guy that he wants his own team?
No, he's not leaving. Even if they don't win a title in the next 2 years, he's not leaving. Why the fuck would you leave this team, bro? You're going to get a supermax contract. You and Jason Tatum are the 1-2 stars, clearly. Why the fuck would you leave?
No, I get you. Because they were talking about the reason why they don't think that's going to happen is because Paul Pierce, Kendrick Perkins, Kevin Garnett, they come into the building and they're telling them like how they make, because back in the day, black players didn't want to play in Boston because it was racist. But like they were talking,
of course, like
the new generation Celtics that won in 08, they've been coming back, and I think they've stressed the point, and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are believers that there's nothing better than winning in Boston. You'll never buy a drink again.
Yeah, you win there, you're a legend forever.
I mean, I don't
you're like Brian Scalabrine is a legend in Boston,
Oh,
and he
he's
didn't
a
even
beast.
play a minute in the finals, and he's a legend in Boston because he won a ring with the team. So, like, you win a fucking ring in Boston, you are a legend. You win it, like, and at the end of the day, there really isn't a better situation for Jaylen Brown to be than right here in Boston. Like,
what about the luxury tax? They're already over it now, obviously doing that. I mean, the thing that they brought up was the owners who created the luxury tax to protect themselves are going to be now the same owners that this collective bargaining agreement. They're going to create the franchise player exception. This was all speculated. But so you're not be able to designate one player in your roster who's allowed to sit outside the salary cap.
yeah, and they pick one of those 2 guys.
And then you can supermax the other guy.
I was watching this funny ass video. It was the old NBA season previews with Bill Simmons and Jalen Rose, and they were talking about the 2013 Nets and how they were the first NBA team to pay all 5 starters more than $10 million a year. How times have changed. The Nets were like $30 million over the tax at that point, and everyone was talking about how that no team has ever been that high above the luxury tax threshold.
And then you have the Warriors.
And then you have now how things have changed in the last 10 years. It was just hilarious to see that.
It's funny when you look at like 2005, a max contract was like 25 mil.
Yeah. Like if you were getting paid, like guys getting paid more than $10 million a year was absurd like 10 years ago. Like
so
2010, like in 2013, like before the new CBA, the first new CBA, like you didn't see teams going to the tax like they do now.
Hold up, Luke Jackson. Now from a non-Boston Celtics fan, I want to hear your thoughts.
He's definitely leaving. Oh, sorry.
Okay, I mean that was going to be my second question. But has Jaylen Brown hit his ceiling? I think his ceiling is a all-star, third-team All-NBA player, all-defensive team member. I think that's his ceiling, which is really good. But do you think he has the potential to be an MVP candidate, or if he went to a different team?
Boston,
yeah.
Ceiling. I mean, he's averaging 28 points. Kind of hard to.
He's a top 30 player. He's a top 30 player. I just don't know if he's ever a top 15 or top 10.
He's one of the best two-way players in the entire league. I think he could be. It's a really tricky question.
I think it's just the ball handling and like the decision making at times is what keeps him from going to the next level. And I just don't know if he has that next level. Luke?
Yeah, that's fair. Like Tatum kind of took.
Yeah, I mean, but his ceiling is like, dude, if his ceiling is getting you 26 to 28 points a game.
I'm not saying that's bad.
Yeah, I know. Like that's a phenomenal ceiling. Like that's a borderline all NBA level ceiling.
But what I'm asking is,
it is all NBA.
I'm not really sure what more you could ask for.
No, well, let me rephrase that question. Has he reached his ceiling on Boston, or do you think if he went to another team, he could be a more higher impact player?
I mean, there's not really much more. There's not really more like anywhere up to go from now as far as Jaylen Brown, unless he like wins the MVP. Like at the end of the day, like he's probably going to average like 28 or whatever on a new team. But and just they wouldn't be as good as they are now. So like,
We could average over
if
2.
this is JB's ceiling, being a 28, like 7-4 guy while playing elite defense, like, I'm fucking fine with that. Like, it's Jaylen Brown.
I think he would average more than 3 assists if he was not on the Celtics. But I mean, as Luke's saying, I don't have any issue with this Jaylen Brown. If that's your second best player on your team, you're a pretty good team. I don't see him staying in Boston that long unless they were to win a championship, not this year, but next year. And then he'd want to run it back. But I don't think he stays for a multitude of reasons. I don't think Boston's going to win it all this year. So
you're a hater, man.
I'm not a hater.
I just believe that you guys think that there's a chance that he leaves after 2 years. Like, I'm sorry.
They need a starting point guard.
He's not going to leave. He's not going to leave until he gets into his 30s, towards like the tail end after that first max contract. You know,
I just joke around that he might leave because he's from Georgia.
Let's say the Boston Celtics
or Atlanta.
Let's say they make it to the championship this year. They lose to Golden State.
Okay.
And then they run it back one more year. Maybe they make some improvements or what have you, and they have an embarrassing loss like Phoenix did last year. I don't see a guy like Jaylen Brown, who's averaging 28 in the prime of his career at 27 years old, the hottest free agent on that market. I don't think he'd stay.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get that. I mean, Kyrie said he was going to stay in Boston, and we had an embarrassing loss to the Bucks in the playoffs, and he was gone in free agency. But like Jaylen Brown, I think it's different than Kyrie. I don't see him. I think there's like, it's no question that he resigns with the Celtics. At least in 2 years. Like I don't even think like there's no doubt in my mind that Jaylen Brown will remain in the Celtics.
So how about? Do you think that him being in the Kevin Durant trade request or trade package, do you think that is in the back of his mind thinking they don't really care?
No, that's just because they're trading for Kevin Durant. That's Kevin fucking Durant.
That's Kevin fucking
Durant. He should be honored. He should be honored.
I take that personally. So Derek White should be honored too? I don't think Derek White's being honored that he was
come on now. We both know that that's a completely different status.
I'm just saying, if I'm Jaylen Brown, I'm like, well, this is a business. So if they're going to make business decisions, so am I.
All right, before we let's wrap up this Boston Celtics talks. And the thing I want to talk about was Gary Washburn talked, and they were like, so the reason why this whole Boston Ime Udoka thing is kind of weird. And the reason why, because everyone's like, there's more to it. We're waiting for it to come out, and it never came out. And Gary Washburn alluded to, it seems like the problem with Ime Udoka, if we look back, the whole sexual misconduct was supposedly he developed an ego on him. And he was supposedly a very frequent, there's nothing wrong with it, frequent person in nightlife, in the Boston nightlife. And there's nothing wrong about it, they're like, as long as
you saying Jaylen Brown or Ime was a frequent
Ime Udoka was a frequent connoisseur of the nightlife in Boston, they said, and especially when his ego blew up when they were winning all that. And if you let's say the sexual misconduct stuff wasn't as bad, and he was still part of the reason why he's suspended and all this stuff. And why, it's kind of like, supposedly, again, there's nothing wrong about having a social life outside of work. But his nightlife, from what they alluded to, rubbed people the wrong way.
Oh, yeah. It's a grown-ass man going out.
I mean, yeah, that's a grown-ass man. Go
home to your family. How old is Ime? 30-something? Go
45?
home.
40?
Yeah, even worse. Get out of the clubs. I'm 23. Clubs suck. Who wants to be in clubs?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I hate clubs. But yeah,
that's like, what's he doing?
Crowded, bro. Oh,
and they also alluded to that potentially the NBA, Adam Silver, when the Nets announced that they were hiring Ime Udoka, contacted the Nets, and they're like, "Look, it's only been 6 weeks."
That doesn't surprise me. Even though technically, again, it was the Celtics suspension. So like the Nets, the Nets had 100% within their rights to hire him, especially when the Celtics said that they were going to let him walk.
They alluded that the NBA washed their hands as soon as the Celtics suspended him. They're like, okay, that's you. That's your contract. That's you. That's coaches. We do players. That's supposedly the NBA washed their hands.
Well, yeah, it's also not them. He was suspended for a violation of Celtics rules. So
yeah, it was just funny how they explained how that all went down.
Yeah, like the NBA didn't have to do anything about it because they had no duty to. It didn't violate any NBA rules.
All right, let's pivot over here and talk about the NBA trade deadline. And I wanted to talk about teams first who are selling. And we're going to skip over the easy answers, which would be the Spurs, maybe the Rockets if they're trying to get rid of Eric Gordon, the Jazz. I feel like those are easy. Maybe you can include the Jazz, but what team that isn't a rebuilding team could you see maybe pivot into a rebuild at this point?
Oh, that's a really good question. A team that's not I saw a bunch of Blazers fans on Twitter talking about Damian Lillard trade packages for Portland.
They were so good to start the year. I feel like they can recapture that.
Yeah, I don't think they will, but I mean, in the West, as far as teams that like aren't rebuilding but might rebuild, like I don't see Minnesota traded away a bunch of first-round picks, so they're out. Utah, maybe Utah, but like Golden State ain't rebuilding, Phoenix ain't rebuilding. In terms of like play-in and playoff contenders, we all know the Lakers aren't. We all know the Thunder already are committed to rebuilding. So I guess the really only candidate would be the only outside shot of a team that might turn into a seller would be Portland
or Utah.
Well, I already said Utah, but like Utah isn't as much of an outside shot. Like Utah's very realistic that they could turn into rebuilding because they have a bunch of picks and they already kind of.
I don't think a Western team's going to sell. I feel like all the teams.
I can't. Like, besides Portland, there is no candidates really, and I don't think Portland will sell. Because I believe they can recapture their form early in the year and get back into the play-in. So I don't see any team in the West actually like tanking and blowing it up that isn't already committed to doing that.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe the Sixers look for a Tobias Harris deal, but there's no one out there that's just as good as Tobias Harris that you can bring back. So you don't trade Tobias Harris at that point.
Yeah, and they're not looking to get any young players because they're trying to win.
The Knicks could be technically sellers if they've been trying to move it all season. Evan Fournier and Derrick Rose and Cam Reddish, but they're not selling.
Sellers though, because those aren't any of their like good core players.
Do the Wizards sell?
Yes,
I think.
But I guess if it's only Kuzma, is that really a sell?
Unless they decide they want to sell Beal, unless they want to trade Beal too, and they go full send and get rid of both of them.
Beal's having a phenomenal year. You just can't say all the.
Yeah, the only thing I could do is if they pull a Orlando Magic Serge Ibaka when the Orlando Magic signed Serge Ibaka and then traded him at that year's trade deadline to the Raptors, and they trade Monte Morris and Will Barton because it didn't work out.
I like the way Monte's been playing. I can't lie, but yeah, I don't think he's a long-term championship solution, but
we've talked about this before. He's an average starting point guard, but he's an elite backup point guard.
Yeah.
That's just,
I know what you're saying. I still don't think I would remove his
Charlotte. We're looking over Charlotte, the worst team in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, they're already kind of sellers. I mean, like
they haven't traded.
They should trade Oubre, but I think they should.
Do you trade PJ Washington? Do you trade?
Yes.
Oubre's the guy they can get the most value for.
I don't know why no contending teams calling for Mason Plumlee.
Dude, he's having an insane season.
Getting posters aside, like he's having
insane year.
He's having a career high 11.2 points on a career high 65.5% from the field, a career high 9.5 rebounds, a career high 3.7 assists.
Yeah, like Mason Plumlee would like the Hornets. The Hornets are already bad, so that's why I don't really know if they could be considered sellers because they knew they weren't going to be very good.
Myers Leonard is working out for the Lakers.
Myers Leonard, what a name! But I mean, like, I think the Hornets need to get rid of Oubre. He doesn't like. You can get some value for him, flip him to a team that actually could use him. Him getting 20 points a game, 20 points a night for this team being terrible just isn't helping them go anywhere. Like. I know they're already committed to rebuilding around Melo because they kind of have been since they drafted him, but like Oubre is too good of a player on a terrible ass Hornets team right now that they can easily get some value for him in return.
Yeah, it's definitely
LA.
Mason Plumlee would be perfect for LA.
We got TB31 and AD MVP.
I know, but imagine if you had AD, TB, and Plumlee, then you can run Plumlee and TB, and then Davis at power forward.
Yeah, but like
what?
They don't. It's a log jam. They have a log.
Yeah, that's a lot.
They have a log jam already of like front court guys. I think the Warriors should definitely look at trading for Mason Plumlee.
So right here, Barton, as you
I
guys
think
know,
the Golden State Warriors could give Mason Plumlee a good home. That's what I think.
That would be amazing.
They
Mason
need
Plumlee
front court help. So.
Or Nerlens Noel.
Yeah, Nerlens for Mason Plumlee.
Yeah. Big J52 said GM Beal's not going to allow Kuz to go, and that's actually been something I've been hearing more and more lately. Is that the Wizards are going to be full court press? Like they supposedly have, like, from what I've like read in between the lines, there's like a verbal agreement between them and Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps wants to stay there. They want to keep Kristaps. That's fine, but it's being alluded that they're going to like make competitive offers for Kuzma, where it's going to be hard for him to pass up the money.
They're going to build around Kuzma, Porzingis, and Beal.
That's not a bad three.
That'll get you 7th in the East right there if they're all healthy.
Yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but the thing is, Kuz doesn't want to be there, so you can throw as much money as you possibly want at him, but it doesn't change the fact that he doesn't want to be there.
I mean, he never asked to be there.
So he wants to be in LA, and he's going to be in LA.
You think he'd rather be in Sacramento than Washington?
Yes.
Yeah. The Sacramento's the 4th seed in the Western Conference.
You're
the 4th seed.
So big.
We're halfway through
Okay,
the season.
let me reread it. Let me shut up, guys.
That's
That's not what I meant. Shut up. I rephrase this. Where would you rather live, Washington D.C. or Sacramento?
Sacramento. Hey, you know what? I like DC a lot.
DC's beautiful.
Depends where you live, I guess.
Well, I mean, you're a millionaire. You're a millionaire, so you can live wherever.
He's a fucking millionaire.
No, I'm saying
he lives wherever he wants. He would rather be playing for the Kings and the Wizards. I certainly would.
Okay, but when that trade was going down, he rather would have played for the Wizards at the time.
Yes, at the time, but things have changed now.
Okay, of course now, but
the Kings got Sabonis. They paired him up with the Aaron Fox. They're 4th in the West right now.
Harrison Barnes. Should they trade Harrison Barnes?
No.
Another
real quick. A seller will be the Pacers.
Here, okay, let's move over.
You think the Pacers are going to be a seller?
Jackson, cue up Bruno's comment.
Interesting.
Mr. Producer. We got to figure out some. No. It just cuts off the.
Just do that one where you had it where there was no one except the picture and the quote.
I don't really like that. Why don't we just say who it? Just say what.
All right, Bruno. I just wanted to show it, you asshole. Okay.
Well, we got audio listeners as well.
I mean, some.
Oh, here, I'll do this.
So, if the Warriors are looking for a wing, let's see who would they get besides. I mean, like
you don't have any money to move.
They can't. Like, they're gonna have to move some salaries if they wanted to make room for someone.
The only contract that matches veteran players that would be serviceable for them is James Wiseman, and I'm not trading James Wiseman, even if you hate him.
I will.
He's their 2nd overall pick from a few years ago. They're not going to get rid of him right now.
It did not work out,
dude. It's a proven fact that bigs take 3 to 5 seasons.
And even if he doesn't take, even if he like isn't actually, even if he ends up being like this, even if this is the best that he's going to get, they're still not going to trade him now because
there's this one thing I get. Bigs
take him over Melo, man. Like they can't give up on him.
Yeah. So there's this one thing that matters the most in the National Basketball Association, and it's called a championship ring. And I'm pretty positive they'd be okay with getting.
But they won last year, though. They already won.
They've offered
they have
the trade that they were interested in doing that involved James Wiseman was a straight up swap. James Wiseman for Jakob Poeltl, and the Spurs asked for a pick.
I love that.
Spurs asked for a pick as well. Yeah, see, then they're not going to do that.
No, but I would have done that deal. That was a good
The
deal.
Warriors aren't.
The
Yeah.
Warriors offered James Wiseman straight up for Jakob Poeltl.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good deal.
That's a fine deal. But then the Spurs asked for a pick, and the Warriors weren't going to do that. It's interesting. It's interesting because I don't think they gave up Wiseman, and they don't really have anybody that's super movable right now. But besides like going after guys in the buyout market, I'm not sure how they really address wings.
Bruno's in
Kyle Kuzma?
Bruno Caboclo plays in Germany for
Bruno Caboclo? Are we still talking about this guy?
I mean, no, someone just asked for an update. He plays in the Bunzos League. He's averaging 15 a night. He's averaging 15 and 6 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 56% from the field, 28.9% from 3, and 2.5 blocks a game with 2.9 turnovers and a steal a game.
It's not bad.
You're a little turnover, but I think he's a center now too.
Small
Can we
ball.
get our Jay Crowder daily updates here? We already did John Collins.
Jay Crowder, from my understanding, he's getting bought out. Every team at this point is like, why are we going to trade anything for him? Because he hasn't played at all this season. And we know if nobody trades for him, you're going to have to buy him out.
We know you guys don't want him. So
And he's a detriment in the locker.
like everybody knows the Suns don't want him. So
yeah.
It's like KPJ. So that's what I would do.
Get rid of the comments.
I would trade away some. What?
Yeah, I wanted to get rid of that comment.
I would trade away some like KPJ type package, like just here's a second round pick. I'll take Jay Crowder. Why would you not do that? Why would I?
Because a bunch of
teams.
It's like the
Warren
thing,
like Milwaukee.
Because it's like when you find out a player that like, if you know someone's
if he's going on the buyout market anyway, you don't need to give up any value for him when you can get
just
him.
wait a month.
But he could go to somewhere else.
It's like I'll take like
if someone's desperate.
Like the Knicks, for example, when the Knicks traded for Melo 6 months before he became a free agent, they didn't need to do that. They let's not act like the Knicks knew that he was going to sign with them in free agency anyway because it's Melo. He wanted to go back home, but they traded for him 6 months before his contract ran out, and they gave up a whole bunch of their future to get him. This is like a way lower scale because obviously Jay Crowder fucking sucks compared to Melo. So all the more reason for nobody to trade anything for him and just let him hit the buyout market before they sign him.
But then why didn't teams do that for Kevin Porter Jr.? Like we could do examples all the time.
Kevin Porter Jr. was
potential
second or third year and was still a young player. We know what Jay Crowder is.
It's like Cam Reddish when we all knew Cam Reddish couldn't play basketball, and the Hawks decided and they fleeced the Knicks into trading a first-round pick for him.
But just so say I'm like a team like
Sacramento, it's like why no one's trading for Cam Reddish or Derrick Rose or Evan Fournier because those guys probably will get Cam Reddish probably will get bought out. I think Derrick Rose is inspiring. He'll probably get those 3 guys will probably get bought out. Like these trades, if you're aware that a deal isn't happening, teams know. It's literally play chicken. Just like who makes a move first.
It's just if I'm a team like Milwaukee and I really know Jay Crowder would turn me into a championship team because he kind of would. Already, I would definitely fork up a 2027 second round pick, but
you have to also think about is that there's 2 things that any NBA executive cares about, and that is first, not to be embarrassed. They don't want to be looked back in history or in 10 years for making the worst deal of all time.
Yeah, nobody wants
That's
to be
the worst way. It's the worst way to manage a basketball team by far.
It is, but nobody wants to be Billy King for the Nets. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody.
And the second thing is everybody in the NBA plays the game where, okay, it's all about leverage. And at the end of the day, if a team and everyone talks with each other, okay, and even if they don't talk directly, word gets around. So if you know the packages that have been offered that they're rejecting, everyone knows this guy's either going to be a free agent next summer, I can get him, or he's going to get bought out. And it's just at this point, it's just like they know if they just wait it out, the team is going to have to do something with that player, and more than likely it's cut him. It's like when Blake Griffin was like on the Detroit Pistons, they were trying to trade him for like a year and a half.
I see what you're saying, but yeah, I'd still trade for Jay Crowder.
I just don't see anybody making a trade for Jay.
Like we have 5 guys we could say are going to be on the buyout market potentially. I think the 3 guys guaranteed: Jay Crowder, Will Barton, Cam Reddish. They're buying out Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish will demand.
No,
Cam, I think
Cam guarantee.
No, Cam is going to last the rest of the season with the Knicks.
I wouldn't guarantee any of those guys.
I would guarantee Will Barton and Nerlens Noel, but
the reason why I don't think Cam Reddish, actually, let me say this: I don't think Cam Reddish gets
2 games out.
I don't think the Cam Reddish gets bought out. I think Cam Reddish gets waived. That way, the Knicks know if they waive him, they won't have to be liable for his salary, because if a team picks him up while he's waived and then plays him for the let him finish and they play him for the rest of the season, then they can offer him a qualifying offer.
I still don't think that they get rid of Cam this year, though. Like
they don't, dude. He hasn't played since like December 2nd.
Yeah, but why would you buy him out at this point? Just fucking I know he hasn't played since December 2nd, but you're not gonna they're not gonna get anything for him. And buying him out just means that you're giving up, and the Knicks don't want to feel like they're giving up because
they have said they don't want Cam Reddish. Tom Thibodeau has literally said he doesn't want him on the team.
But they're not going to get anything for him. So why would you buy out of?
Because they're not going to get anything for him. Just get rid of him, get him off out of the locker room.
I thought GMs don't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah, but they're like, rather you don't want a locker room, someone who could be a cancer to the locker room.
He's not.
So Jay Crowder.
But
Jay Crowder's not there. He's been sent home.
Oh yeah.
But
Cam's there. Cam's there, sitting in the corner,
just suffering.
Literally has played 20 games. This season.
He hasn't played in the
last 21 games. He has has had 21 DMPs.
Why are these 21-year-old players expecting like 35 minutes a night and max extensions when they
all
are not great players?
They all think they're Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, not just Luka Doncic. They just all think they're that guy. Which, I mean, again, let's be honest. Everything's about opportunity and your environment. You know what I mean? There's obviously certain players like Luka that I think, regardless of where he went, he would have been great. The same thing with LeBron. But maybe John Morant, if he went to a different team, he still would have been good.
Yeah.
Maybe he would have taken a little longer to develop. Those are all things that I feel like aren't factored in. But
it's just Cam Reddish is kind of.
You're a Duke fan, so I
had a lot of opportunities. Yeah, I want Cam to succeed. I just don't.
Cam Reddish in 4 seasons has only played 153 games, which he should have been.
Stay healthy.
What was it? He should have been able to play 53 games within his 3rd season, or within his 2nd season, I think. Well, no, his first season was
a big factor though with Cam Reddish.
Yeah, no, dude. There's a couple stats in his first 2 seasons over, I think, a 30-game span. If you combine the 2 seasons where he started 30 games combined, he averaged 18 points, 5 rebounds, 2 or 3 assists, and 2 steals a night as a starter for the Hawks. Is that a crazy stat? He was he started between his rookie and his sophomore season. He started about 30 games or 25 games, and he was an 18-point per game scorer while shooting 40% from 3.
And then they traded him.
Well, that was because he was a locker room cancer, supposedly, really bad. He was really bad at Atlanta, like a detriment to the team. I mean, they literally went on a win streak as soon as they traded him.
Yes, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he gets bought out, but I don't think he gets traded for.
I think Cam rides out the season with the Knicks.
Did you? All right,
so
so
surprise me.
I don't know if you guys just. Oh my god, I don't know how that happened, but did you guys see about Tyrese Halliburton?
Yeah, he's on a fantasy team.
Yeah, so is there any update for how long he's going to be out?
Exited on crutches.
Yeah, he left the game on crutches.
But so there's no update for how long he's going to be out? We just know that he left the game on crutches.
So first off, Shams Charania tweets this.
Myers out 2 weeks.
Myers Leonard last played in January 2021. at which point he
Yeah.
had season-ending shoulder and ankle surgeries based on issues that stemmed from the ankle surgery. Leonard has been sidelined for almost 2 years and recently was fully cleared to work out for NBA teams. Oh, let's not act like that was the reason why he hadn't been on the NBA roster.
Yeah, we know why he wasn't on the NBA roster.
Okay, he said something that only I could say and my people can say.
Yeah. In other words, Kyrie Irving before Kyrie Irving. Before it was cool.
My favorite was because it was like when he was playing video games, he's like, I didn't know what that word meant. And then Julian Edelman like reached out to him and like offered to teach him the Judaism, like the Jewish faith.
It's like, how do you not? Okay, it's like also, yes, you know what that word means, Myers Leonard.
All right, let's move on to
That is so tough. 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's bad. That's not good for the Pacers.
Oh yeah, let's go back to that. Sorry. So 2 weeks without Tyrese Halliburton. And right now
reevaluated in 2 weeks. Might be more.
Yeah, it's not even. Yeah, they're still waiting on the scan.
they did say reevaluating 2 weeks for Kevin Durant, and then there was another report saying Kevin Durant will miss 4 weeks.
Exactly.
So 4 weeks.
It might be more than it probably will be more than 2 weeks. I mean, maybe not. The Nets are in a
I
position.
think so.
The Nets are in a position where they can afford to have Kevin Durant out for longer. The
Pacers.
The Pacers can't really afford to have.
You don't believe in TJ McConnell?
He's gonna be cool.
I
think I'm about
I don't
to
know
pick
if
him
TJ
up right
McConnell will take this team to the playoffs, man. I don't know.
I don't understand
now.
why
No,
the
they're gonna
Lakers.
sell, dude.
Why
They're
don't
selling.
the Lakers? I think they have 1 or 2 second-round picks. You're telling me you couldn't convince the Pacers at least to do Kendrick Nunn and a few second-round picks for TJ McConnell?
Well, not now because Tyrese is gone.
I know, but before that,
I don't know.
TJ McConnell, dude, people like, I think was he hurt the last 2 years? He kind of, but like people forget
He
how
was hurt at the start of the year.
I know he was hurt at the start of the year, but TJ, I feel like he's missed so much time over the last 2 years because people forget he made a name for himself on those bad Sixers team.
The tanking Sixers as an undrafted rookie from Arizona.
You know, this is his 4th season in Indiana.
Yeah,
I did not know he's been in 4 years.
I'm picking him up right now.
you might have to because.
Oh, do you know why he's from Pittsburgh? So playing in Indiana.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there's no Pittsburgh basketball team, but in Indianapolis is only like
Yeah.
a 4-hour drive.
Yeah, he is from Pittsburgh. He played at Duquesne before Arizona.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Duquesne's from Pittsburgh. I didn't know that. I didn't know he played at Duquesne. I just thought he just played at Arizona.
Holy shit, this is his second deal with the Pacers. He originally signed a 2-year, $7 million deal, and then in August 2021, he signed a 4-year, $35 million deal.
Yeah, so he's in like the second year of his second deal.
Oh, but he's been injured. He's yet to play a full season, and then last year he played 27 games. But like it's here. I mean, imagine if they had Dwayne Washington now. Hey, Dwayne Washington, they cut him this offseason. Now he's balling for the Suns.
I guess, yeah.
Games, I mean.
Also, Chris Duarte is supposedly on the trade block for the Pacers and like contending teams, which is funny as fuck because I literally said this 2 days ago to Luke. I was like, why aren't contending teams calling Chris Duarte? He's on a cheap contract.
Yeah,
He can literally, and we're like, he could literally come in and play 15 minutes a night on any championship team and be like really
Just
good.
be a shooter, man. Just that's all he needs to do.
Do you think Andrew Nemhard or
The
TJ
shot
McConnell?
hasn't fallen this year,
Starts.
but like the shot hasn't really been falling this year, but he can shoot. it.
Injuries
Yeah,
though.
I mean, like I said, like he can shoot, man. Like he was what 37% from 3 last year. Like he's a shooter. He can hit. He can make them.
Yeah, dude, and he's a great defender.
I am kind
Right.
of surprised that more people aren't looking at Chris Duarte.
It's probably the first round pick.
If the Pacers are a selling team too, which they may be like a selling team. We'll see how this Tyrese Halliburton injury changes their plans for the season. But if they go on a losing streak and all of a sudden they're on the outside looking in for the play-in, they are going to be sellers at the deadline.
Yeah, I mean, if they
fall out of the playoffs, they are.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also if Miles Turner continues to reject, because they offered Miles Turner a renegotiation and extension, which would make his current deal, which is $18 million for the season, they would pay him $37 million this season and then tack on 3 extra years with an average of $18 million. So the whole deal would be 4 years with an average of $23 million. And he said no.
I'm kind of surprised he said no to that.
It's a good deal.
It's a good deal, especially this year.
Well, I think his whole thing probably was like, you guys just want me to sign that deal so you guys can trade me in the summer.
Because then they'll be like, oh, he's still only on $18 million a year, guys.
Yeah.
It's like, and I know it's a bigger contract because like he's going to get a lot of it up front. It's going to be like, oh, now he's only on $18 million a year. We could easily move him.
I still can't believe the Suns matched the Pacers offer by 15 cents.
Like I told you, man, Robert Sarver's cheapness knows no bounds. This is the same guy who let
Robert Sarver probably called the accounting team. And he's like, what is the lowest match we have to? And they're like, oh, we just have to increase it. And he's like, okay, let's not do a cent. Let's do 15 cents. So
we don't look as cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, like fucking, oh my God. Yeah, this is the same.
You think
guy.
Robert Sarver's just flipped him the 15 cents like a dime and a nickel and walked by? He's just like, here's those 15
Here you
cents.
go, man. Hey, this is on top of your contract, by the way.
Yeah.
You re-sign with us.
Cash, buddy.
Patrick offer. Here you go, 15 cents cash. Oh, the cheapness of Robert Sarver never ceases to amaze me, man.
All right, before we
I
play
can't wait
Purtle,
till he's gone.
LeBron James prefers to finish with the Lakers, even though there was rumblings, and he wants to play with Bronny in Los Angeles. What are your thoughts here?
He's obviously like this isn't really news right now. I think we knew that unless Bronny like cannot go to the Lakers and go somewhere else, LeBron will probably finish as a Laker, and the Lakers will probably draft Bronny or sign Bronny, or do anything they can to get him. But like, if that's what it would take for him to finish his career with the Lakers, they would do that. But I mean, there just really isn't anywhere else that I could see LeBron going right now, at least. So, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Like
Jackson?
Yeah, same thing.
Oh,
He's making a lot of money in LA, so
yeah, he's playing for the most storied franchise in the history of the league.
they'd have to really shoot themselves in the foot, I think.
I just think right here, yeah, they'd have to shoot themselves in the foot, or he'd have to like really lose his shit on the team.
The front the front office would have to do something like terrible. Like Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss would have to like, I don't know, pull a Doc Rivers and not allow him to bring his family to games, like on the team plane or something like that.
Is that actually something that Doc Rivers did?
With Tim Duncan, yeah, for the Magic, Tim Duncan wanted his family to be on the team plane to go to games or something like that, and Doc Rivers said, "Nah, you can't do that." So Tim Duncan re-signed with the Spurs.
No way.
Look it up.
That's fucking crazy. I believe you.
Yeah, Tim Duncan. He was almost a Magic player.
I mean, the Magic, for some reason, between like the early 2000s shit, and were able to sign Grant Hill and Tracy McGrady and have never had free agent success again.
Yeah, no, they had Grant Hill before he shredded his his legs. And then
no, he had already shredded his legs and he just didn't disclose it.
Well, okay, yeah, he already had Swiss cheese legs. But like anyway, like Grant Hill had already had string cheese legs at that point, and Tracy McGrady, well, he ended up getting string cheese legs, but not for the Magic. But man, they could have had Tim Duncan too.
Yeah, I think it's pretty.
But now nobody wants to go there.
Why?
That'll change. That'll change soon. They're going to make the plan this year, I'm telling you.
I mean, I would love it. Paulo Banchero's been on a tear that
they can't be that far out.
Paulo
Banchero's
next
season
year
is so under the
be
radar.
next year
He's
there'll be a
insane.
playoff team.
They should.
He might be an all-star.
I'm looking this up because I swear that
We're 3 games out of 10. There's a real chance.
there we go. Yeah, all right.
I mean, they're probably not going to.
Better
but
than the start of the season, right?
Yeah.
So,
they're better than the
took down
Pistons and the
Golden
Hornets
State
right
not too
now.
long ago.
I wonder, like, what do you do though if you're the Magic with all those players? Like Chuma KK, you got RJ Hampton got declined, so
Obama's
Cole
gone.
Anthony.
He's
Obama's gone. I think
Yeah.
Cole Anthony's gone.
Yeah.
Like,
I think-
because you have to make a
honestly-
decision: is it Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, or Markelle Fultz? I choose Markelle Fultz and Jalen Suggs.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, Cole Anthony looks like he's probably gone of those 3 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what? I mean, they probably flip one of Gary Harris or Terrence Ross.
yeah, they're really trying to showcase Gary right now.
They probably flip one of those 2 guys. But like obviously like Franz Wagner and Paulo are untouchable. And I don't think
Franz Wagner's ridiculous.
Yeah, Franz Wagner's untouchable. And then obviously, like Wendell Carter's like I don't want to say he's untouchable, but they're not going to trade him at least in
Hard
the
to
foreseeable
touch.
future. They're not going to trade him in the foreseeable future. But
Yeah.
All right, let's play the game that we wrap up all the shows, and that
Cole
is
Anthony.
that is Pirtle.
Pirtle.
Damn, dude,
That's
I really
Marcus Morris.
That was a good guess.
Yeah, that was really good. I really wanted to shit on the Suns today, but
Oh, you cheated! You cheated! You played this earlier.
I
How'd
wanted
you
to
know?
shit on the Suns today.
I'm a beast. I knew
I'm
his
like-
number and height, and I put it together.
We didn't even.
That was the first guess.
I've been
One
studying
guess, Marcus
silhouettes
Morris.
ever since Cyro made fun of me like a couple months ago.
Oh, that you didn't know your
He's been beefing up his
silhouettes.
turtle skills.
Cyro like would wipe the floor with me every single day.
Yeah,
He's been beefing up his turtle skills.
Yes, sir.
Bruno said you got the story wrong. Doc said no, but it wasn't about Timmy's wife or family. The story's way different. Bruno, tell.
Yeah, tell me like what actually, because like I'm just like I don't remember what entirely happened, but it was some free agency shit with Timmy's family and the organization or whatever, like including Doc, like I guess said something to. I don't know what happened, but the negotiations broke down at the last second. Tim Duncan was almost a Magic player.
Would have been great. Probably would have won a few rings with Dwight Howard.
Yeah, they would have had Dwight. Like, well, maybe they wouldn't. They wouldn't.
What year would that have been?
Like
They would have been like
02.
2000 something. So they wouldn't have had Dwight. They wouldn't have been bad enough. They would have been Timmy and Tracy McGrady as the 1-2 punch in Orlando.
Jameer Nelson.
Jameer Nelson underrated as all.
That would have
hell.
been in the 2000s. You know his kid. You know his kid's a baller, dude. His kid plays for Delaware right now.
Wow,
Oh,
dude,
cool.
really?
He's averaging like 20 and like 5.
Jameer Nelson,
Jameer Nelson is
the
so
original thick boy. Jameer Nelson was 6 foot flat and like
What?
6 foot flat, 190, but he looked like 6 foot 220. Okay.
Like Kyle
Also,
Lowry.
Jameer Nelson
Him and Delonte West were college teammates.
That's funny. Guess
Same
one of them
goes.
smoked.
Delonte West fucked LeBron's mom.
Yeah, LeBron's father, Delonte West.
Yeah. Sorry, LeBron.
Oh, Jameer Jr.
If you listen to this, sorry, LeBron.
Yeah, Jameer Jr. plays for Delaware right now. He's like averaging like 19 and 5 or 20 and 5 or something like that. Like he's been good. He's been really good for them.
He's taller than his dad.
He's like 6'3",
6'1".
6'1". Oh, well, he's taller than his dad, so
He's a junior. He seems
Yeah,
like he'll get a shot.
he went somewhere before Delaware, but
George
I can't remember.
Washington.
George Washington. Okay. Yeah, I figured he transferred to a smaller school.
All right. That's it, guys. You guys got anything else to say?
Well, I wanted to shit on the Suns because they got beat by the Nuggets, but they didn't have like Chris
Oh, I
Paul.
saw that game on the plane.
They didn't have any of their best. They didn't have their best 3 players, so I can't really blame them for losing. I mean, they have only scored over 100 once in the new year, but like I can't really shut them for losing too badly to the Nuggets because they didn't have any of their best players. But
Thomas Perry said Luke got getting busted for slander. He's going to represent himself in the court of law. All right.
the Suns are public figures. They have to prove that I had actual malice in my comments and what
I think it was more about the Tim Duncan story, you asshole.
Oh yeah. Well, again, I didn't knowingly know it was false.
All right. That's it for today, guys. Like, comment, subscribe if you did enjoy today's show. Be a friend and tell a friend. After I take a nap, I'll do clips unless you're going to do them.
No, I'm back.
Okay, word. Let's get it. We'll be back tomorrow with Luke actually having a good night.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Let's hit 2,000 subscribers by All-Star Weekend.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
2,000.
That's
Also, what's it called? I got Paulo. He's going to run our TikTok.
lit.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're going to have a TikTok page, and he's also going to run our Instagram.
So we're actually gonna have shit. We're gonna have shit now. There you go.
Yeah. All right. I'm peacing out. I got shit.
All right. Peace.
Be a friend, tell a friend.
I got to end it first. All right.